Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. This is again Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition of Let We Talk the Thing Unfiltered. People, today is Friday, the week is over. Time and tide waits for no one. We're in the month of August, just now is Independence Day, just now is Christmas. But you know what? Here on Bounce Up Central, and Let We Talk the Thing, we just wait and we peeps because we know all there's a thing to do. But I want to thank you all for always staying tuned in and locked in and always giving me that support, right? Much love, much love. But you know, we have a program here and we don't stick with that. That is just how we just do it. Love up we country, love up we anthem, love up we pledge. That is what we have. It's about unity, one love at the end of the day. Different creed, different races, however, we hold we corner, but at the end of the day, because of that confidence that we ought to have in our different ethnic group, because of that we're able to mingle and mix and respect and tolerate and thing others. So listen to the anthem now. Animals to the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
And we must all remember the first peoples of Trinidad. Anthem. And a little historical good news, anyway you want to put it, listen to this about Fidel Castro.
Why are there no roads, schools, or hospitals named after Fidel Castro in Cuba? Because Cubans hate Fidel. Just kidding, that's what the US and reactionary Cuban diaspora want you to believe. In reality, Fidel asked for nothing to be named after himself. His legacy is embodied by something greater than engravings and buildings. Today, August 13th, would be Fidel's 100th birthday, and massive commemorations are taking place in Cuba despite the crippling US siege. Even with Cuba's small size, Fidel, the guerrilla and the head of state, became one of the most prominent and influential leaders in world history. But Fidel was against creating a cult of personality around himself because the Cuban Revolution is about the masses, not one individual. In 1959, he ordered a bust made of him destroyed. Following his death, Cuba passed a law prohibiting the naming of institutions, streets, parks, or other public sites, or erecting busts, statues, or other forms of tribute in honor of Fidel, respecting his wishes. Today, if you visit Cuba, you'll find only one place named after Fidel, the Fidel Castro Center in Havana, an interactive museum dedicated to his life and legacy. The only statue of Fidel on the entire island is there, a gift from Chinese President Xi Jinping in 2014. Another statue was erected in 2022 in Moscow. Instead of in Cuba, you'll find streets and parks named for Fidel in Palestine, Turkey, South Africa, Vietnam, Guinea, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Jamaica. As many know, Fidel was defined by his internationalism. Under his leadership, Cuba began deploying medical brigades to at least 158 countries. As the Soviet Union collapsed, Cuba treated over 25,000 Chernobyl victims for free, and Cuba sent roughly 5% of its population to Angola from 1975 to 1991, playing a decisive role in defeating South Africa's apartheid regime. This was all while facing blockades, sanctions, invasion attempts, biological warfare, and over 800 failed assassination attempts of Fidel. When he passed at 90 years old from natural causes, Fidel was mourned worldwide. Putin hailed him as a symbol of a whole era of modern world history. Maduro proclaimed, "To all the revolutionaries of the world, we have to continue with his legacy and his flag of independence, socialism, and homeland." Sayed Ali Khamenei recalled, "I extensively talked with Fidel Castro in person. It is his personality to believe and rely on people." Now imprisoned Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan said Fidel liberated his nation from all vestiges of imperialism and became a global leader for anti-colonial struggles. The PFLP noted he always took a position against Zionism, describing the Zionist entity as a creation of worldwide imperialism, constantly criticizing its crimes against our Arab and Palestinian peoples. Today, as Cuba faces its greatest challenges yet, its strength is in the continuity of its revolutionary history.
Some history there on Fidel Castro. And listen to this. This was very interesting to me.
Recently started a business where I beat men. So you are in a violent relationship. This boyfriend is trying to scam you. You're confused about him. He's cheating on you. He's beating you up. It's actually given me more money than any content creation gig has ever given me. Like, I beat them up properly. I have a group of people that I work with to like beat them back into like shape. Wake me up at midnight to beat a man. Please. Want to be able to beat at least 1,000 men by 2027.
Hear me out. Just hear me out. Yeah. I know it's a touchy subject, but I'm just saying she might be the right person for the job. I know she might be the right person. She said a couple of key things that made me know, do you know what, this might be a calling. First of all, remember, it's not that she's just busting up man, she's beating up men that are moving effery. She's like the equalizer. She's like Queen Latifah, but the African version. Yeah? But think about it. A couple key things. First thing she said is, I beat man for a living. She's been doing this. This is not a new job. It's not her first day. She never said, I'm thinking about starting a business where I might beat man. She goes, I beat man for a living. Yeah? First thing. Secondly, her skin, clear. Not one scar. Her hair, no grays, no stress. She seems happy. Tells me she's good at this. She's been winning these bouts. Yeah? Caveat, she beats man into shape. What I'm trying to say is, if you're loose balling, you're moving weird, you're on the stuff, you're drinking, she will beat you back into a suit. If you're a tech police guy, she'll beat you into a suit. You'll have a job on Monday. She's beating you back into shape. Yeah? That's gangster. All right? Also, she wants to beat 1,000 man by 2027. We are, I don't know if you realize, we're in August. I don't know what the numbers are at the moment, but even if you do the math, that's like 5 a day. This woman this is a 9 to 5 business. She starts early in the morning, poof, baff, biff, handing out licks from early. 8:30 start, send him in, poof, baff, biff. Last thing I will say, she's from the motherland. She's handing out motherland beatings. Caribbeans, we've got to stay out of this one. Yeah? Because we think that our parents beat us and they say, Mr. sit down, Mr. shut your mouth. But a motherland beating, remember, you ate fufu, hard food, yeah? Motherland beating is different, you know? It's from the motherland. It's where beating started, right? Creation beating you're getting. I'm just saying, I think she's right for the job. Just, if anything, make sure she don't hear about you, because you're out of there.
Listen, now. Oh, no, let me tell you something, social media. It's not right here. But you hear what she said? She just beat man into shape. If you have a man behaving bad, whether she beat him back into shape to behave himself. So let me see how she business going like she making money, because she say she getting paid more than them social media bloggers and all that. So home girl, you do what you have to do, and you're doing it for good. Well, I go tell you. Look at this fashion that I saw here. They did it in such a creative way. Watch this.
In Jamaica, we say we love you. Come on, in Haiti, we say moi j'aime. In Saint Lucia, we say moi j'aime. In Dominica, we say moi j'aime. In Trinidad and Tobago, we say I love you. In Suriname, we say me love you. Love you. In Grenada, we say I love you. In Barbados, we say I love you. Bye. Say. In the Bahamas, we say I love you. In Guyana, we say I love you. In Belize, we say I love you. In Puerto Rico, we say te quiero. In the Dominican Republic, we say te quiero. In Cuba, we say te quiero. In Aruba, we say estimable. In Curaçao, we say estimable. In St. Martin, estimable. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we say me love you. In Guadeloupe, we say manemeu. In the Cayman Islands, we say I love you. Oh, in Turks and Caicos, we say I love you. In the British Virgin Islands, we say I love you. In the US Virgin Islands, we say I love you.
I want to say I'm very biased. I find Trinidad and Tobago outfit look the chicest, the classiest, the hottest. I'm very biased. I like them too bad. The other styles and things, but Trinidad and Tobago to me stand out. So let me continue the thing. Well, we now come out from celebrating or observing World Steel Pan Day, the 11th of August, as declared by United Nations, especially when Beverly Ramsey-Moore, president of Trinbago, and the then Minister of Tourism and Culture, oh gosh, what's the name again, boy? Mitchell. Something Mitchell. Mitchell, right now. Yeah. They would have went to the UN to speak about the steel pan that is more than just the playing of the music and the only musical instrument to be created in the 20th century, but they spoke about the science, the technology, the engineering, the community building, the mental health side of things with music as therapy. They pleaded the case for the steel pan, and it was well received, and we have World Steel Pan Day. So still continuing from that, because today is only Friday, I'll bring you some stuff that is in essence a part of the beginning and what we have now.
Yeah.
Right, so that's our tambu bamboo. They started with that first, and then the bamboo used to mash up and split up, so they start to use the, bottle and spoon and just, well, covers and that kind of thing, and then we move on to the steel drum. If you realize she was doing a call and response, and out of that came calypso. So in the African tradition, we are call and response. When I die, bury me close. When I die, bury me. Yeah, so the man will say, I don't want nobody wear my clothes, and the chorus will say, when I die, bury my clothes. When I die, bury. Yeah. So call and response. If I was down there, I would really get on. I would be doing the bongo and try to do the limbo. Well, when I have to hold me up because I might not be able to go down low and all that. But anyway, I would be all up in the bongo, the bongo part. When I die, oh, hell yeah. Listen to me. Music, sweet music, nice. So let me continue. So I saw this little video. Again, all in the schema world. Steve Pandey, this gentleman teaching first time persons a little melody, and it sounded really sweet. Listen to this.
Steel orchestra. The commercial steel orchestra. So guys, quickly, what we do there, we're going to just harmonize in the key of G major, G, C, and D. But we have color coded it to make it sound really nice, which is red, blue, and yellow. We did it just now, so I know it's going to be easy. So without further ado, after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, red. Lovely. Blue. heavenly. Up, 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 up. And cut. Nice. Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you can't get better than that.
Okay, can you play a song and
Look how proud they felt playing that. Did I see some of our Indian sisters there? Listen on. What's that might I be saying if he was alive, boy? What? Let me tell you something, the music sweet for all away. Look at this one. The only thing I wish she had two pants sticking she had, but she really liking herself. Watch this. That was former Senator Renuka Sagran Singh Suklal at Exeter's Panyard, enjoying the beat. She has some moves there, man. So let me continue. I also saw out in the consulate, the TNT consulate out in the US, they too
The
celebrated.
Consulate General of Trinidad and Tobago is putting on a steel band performance in Times Square, and I got invited. Let's go. It's going to be my first time watching a steel band, so I'm very excited. I didn't get to see it in Trinidad because when I went to bring Marlene to Queen's Hall, she was like, no, we don't need to do all of that. So I'm very excited to listen to the music and just see the vibe. When I got there were thousands of Trinidadian people. I got to meet Charlie, who's the one who invited me. I met Mary, who's the acting Consulate General of Trinidad and New York. We got to listen to some of the amazing music. What did we come to New York to see, Chef Finbar?
Hey Nicky, I came to New York en route to DC actually. I was invited by the Trinidad and Tobago Embassy in collaboration with the Martin Luther King Library Auditorium to show the movie about my band that my nephew and I did together called Hannah's The Story. So it's a great honor and it's a beautiful location being the Martin Luther King Auditorium. So I'm looking forward to it. But I've been here for the past 4 days having a blast.
Oh, and enjoying the steel band.
Of course. Bye.
So I just made it back home. I got the World Steel Pan Day shirt on from the consulate. Feel very official. It never disappoints. Anytime I hang out with Trinidadians, they always make me feel so included and so just happy to be alive. And I got to experience steel pans for the first time. And it's just such a beautiful sound. Now I need someone to teach me how to dance to it.
So everybody enjoying the culture and loving it up. Look at this one. All again in the mood of World Steel Pan Day. Again, this is Satmaraj, if he was alive. I don't know what happened. She was in the sari and thing too, you know. Darling, you're right. Enjoy the panes. We African people created it for the whole world to enjoy. Everybody. All of us from Trinidad and Tobago. So let me continue the continuous. I saw this and I remember this lady. I remember her. And that is, give me a minute. I go on trying to answer something here and forget I doing this show, Just now, let me find the article. This young lady here is, they have the post Rosel Steps Lavender is a group I saw there. A true daughter of the soil Ria Ramnarine. I ain't see she long time, So they said, meet Ria Ramnarine, a true Trinidad and Tobago trailblazer. Born and raised in Karapichaima, Ria was always a sporty girl. She played cricket in primary school and was a cheerleader in high school. At 16, she started training in martial arts, eventually moving into kickboxing and boxing. In 1999, she made a professional boxing debut. Then she made history. In 2005, Ria became Trinidad and Tobago's first female world boxing champion, winning multiple world titles during her career. She retired from professional boxing in 2012 with a record of 14 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. But Ria didn't stop there. Today, she continues to give back through coaching, sports administration, and her Boxing Beyond the Ring program, helping empower women and young girls through sport. She was also inducted into the International Women Boxing Hall of Fame in 2017. From a young girl in Karapichaima to a world champion and role model, Ria Ramnarine's story is one of determination, courage, and breaking barriers. Respect to a true champion. And the person who wrote this was Jason King. Jason King, thank you for sharing, because sometimes we don't give people their flowers. So I'm happy that I was able, excuse me, to see that article and read that article. I'm also seeing an article about, just now, let me find it. Okay. What do you think? Excuse me. This fan always on me, but I ain't taking it off at all. So it has to do with Arima uncovering the indigenous story behind its name. And this was in The Guardian 2 days ago. And let me just read a little piece. Why is this thing giving so much trouble? Telling you to close the angle, don't write. It's that Otto Carrington story. It says, for generations, Trinidad and Tobago has been told that Arima means water, a meaning repeated in historical references and popular accounts, which describes Arima as an Amerindian name meaning water or place of much water. But Chief of the First Peoples of Trinidad and Tobago, Ricardo Barat, is challenging that long-held interpretation. Barat says research within the indigenous community has failed to establish that Arima or Hyarima, excuse me, means water in the indigenous language historically spoken by the First Peoples. For a long time, we heard that Hyarima meant water, Barat said. But after doing a lot of research and talking with different people, elders and so on, we have not yet come across in any of the indigenous language that would have been spoken amongst our people, anything close to Hyarima, Hyarima, and that is how it right? That will imply that the meaning is water. He said the languages considered include Carinya, which he identifies as the Carib language, Lokono, associated with the Arak, as well as Waro and the Nepoyo. We have not seen anything close to Hyarima that would imply that the meaning was water, he said. He said, I don't know where that came from. Instead, Barat said an interpretation more strongly supported within the First Peoples community is that Hyarima or Hyarimate referred to a gathering place. What we have more in our community is Hyarimati, meant the gathering place or the place where we meet to converse and to plan and so on, he said. And he argues the historical role of the area supports that interpretation. Because we know that the different chiefs from around the country would have met with Hairama from time to time in this place, Barrett said, as a meeting point, a place of deliberation or planning their strategies and so on. So that makes more sense in terms of Hairima, taking its name from the term Hairimati, where we gather, where we come together. Beyond the meaning and the name, let me see how much more in this to read. Excuse me. So I would just leave that there for now. So the conversation speaks about the real meaning of Arima. The people of the first people of Trinidad and Tobago are making their voices be heard, with wanting their oral and documented history to be recorded properly, and that they're able to teach the ancestors, the children, and those to come, and those who are here already and others, the real meaning and true meaning of the word Arima and other things that are historical to the persons or people of First Peoples descent. Right? So it's a nice piece, get it, read it. It is in the Guardian. It was 2 days ago, said Arima, uncovering the indigenous story behind the name. All right? You all listen to this and see if what Rambo's saying here makes sense.
Someone messaged me today like, Rambo's going on with the videos, what taking place, you're slipping in your game. And I tell them, no, some people take a break. But I take a break for my own mental health. It's a toxic place on social media. And here's why. Prior to this, we had 9.5 years roughly of PNM rule. The PNM, for whatever reason, took an arrogant stance to most issues. The population were not happy with that and decided to show them that they were not happy with that by voting them out. This is how democracy works. Well, democracy within proper democracies. In other islands in the Caribbean, they have a weird system where it's democratic, but it kind of seems dictatorial to me. Like, there's no way you can please people for this long and never get voted out. But I digress. So, they were voted out. And I think it happened for the best, because had they won a third consecutive term, they would have been super arrogant. Because you all voting them back and would have showed them, yeah, we're okay with it, man, continue. So let them touch grass in opposition for a couple of years, learn some humility, and then return to the people in 5 or 10 years, however long it takes, and ask for a second chance, and let the population judge you at that point in time. That is my official stance on the matter. This is democracy, and this is how democracy works. But here is the issue. We didn't have a viable alternative, because it turns out the country replaced arrogance with chaos. And that is something that each and every one of you now have to sit down in your quiet moments when you are on the toilet bowl contemplating, is chaos better than arrogance? That's something for you to decide. But let me explain to you all why I call it chaos. I read a lot of Trump books, and he has mastered the art of being chaotic. He bombards you with so much nonsense. He can't even decipher which one to focus on more than the others, because all of them is nonsense. And if you look at it, let's go back down memory lane and let's look at the playbook. After the elections, what was the first big thing? All of a sudden, Whitehall became unfit for the Prime Minister. Something that a picture could have either proven or disproven. It turned out to be a big fiasco back and forth in the media. Right around that time, Palarat came out with a video showing a bunch of alcohol. Look, alcohol. Look how much alcohol the Prime Minister's residence. And everybody with sense was like, the bullshit start. Because even if a Prime Minister doesn't drink, let's say he never drank in his life, he will still have alcohol on hand because you are the Prime Minister. You have delegates coming to your place, you have high commissioners, diplomats, different people, and you offer them something. Not because you don't drink means they don't drink. Let's be real here. But they made a big fuss, and you all ran with it in the media. But make no mistake, the Prime Minister's residence still has alcohol to this day. Probably not this type, because they have their own type they like, but it's still there. Around that same time, we had the whole board members debacle. Some members didn't resign in a timely manner, and for whatever reason, it was a news cycle. Oh, they're leaving, they must leave now, throw the thing out the window. Alright, we move from that right into the firing of a new CEO that Trinidad just spent so much money on to poach from Barbados. Then, while that was still in the news cycle, these things are happening back to back. All of a sudden, 10,000 plus workers from CPEP, yeah, all they go home. We got a few days break, and then boom, new cycle again. 4,600 more workers, go home. It was around this time that I found out, and I'm saying myself alone, because like I was the last to find out, that the Independence Day Parade was actually a PNM political rally. I didn't know that. So they cancelled that, and the fireworks, so the fireworks was too loud. Not for the body though, only for independence, so it doesn't make noise. Yeah, I'm baffled as well. But anyway, after going on for months while they were in opposition about firing the central bank governor, they came and within the first couple of months did the exact same thing that they were lambasting the previous administration for. Hypocrisy is a shameless act. We went from that right into the CEO for FCB being forced to resign. It was a whole thing. The board was like, no. They were like, yes. The board was like, no. Then eventually she resigned and it's like, you know what, whatever. From that, we went into the URP workers. Some of them got sent home again. So CPEP, URP, Forestry Division. Why are we dealing with that? Out of nowhere, on a random afternoon, we heard that the Dragon Gas deal is back on. The same bad deal that we shouldn't do because Motorista dictator. That's it. Yeah, that one. It's back. And people were like, oh, maybe she wanted something after all. Then bam, bam. One of the ministers got arrested or rearrested on fraud charges. And it's like, very on brand. Very, very on brand. And then while we were processing that, what appeared to have been a budget popped up. And it came like a thief in the night because it was a secret. It was either Monday or Tuesday, then we go Friday, then we hear next year, then we hear, okay, no, it's really Monday. It's like, when is it? When is it? Why are they going to be chaotic with you all? And then it came, and it turned out to be 3 hours of an OJT in a high position, calling out random numbers. And if you question, like, where are you going to fund this? Where the revenue coming from? To ask that question. And promises made, promises kept, except the ones that we were all talking about for the past so much years. For example, the 7% online tax implemented by Imbert. Myself, along with many of you, along with them, were so vehemently against it. For some reason, nah. You will keep this, you will keep this. Then, they talked about the oppression on the nation's roadways for months, for years, when they were in opposition. All of a sudden, they had a chance, you know what to do? They raised some of the fines. So, after talking about taxation is bad, oppression is bad, they came and added a bunch more taxes with different names. It's no longer tax. It's opening a fancy name. And then people telling you you're winning. You're not winning, but they're telling you you're winning. And while we were dealing with that, in the background, we have now isolated ourselves from the rest of CARICOM. For whatever reason, we just all of a sudden is a pariah in Caribbean. And then bam, the biggest elephant in the room, the impending war on our doorsteps. Out of nowhere, randomly. Whoa. I am telling you, the PNM was in government for 9 years and some months, and this 181 days seem like 5 years out of that 9 years. This is just 181 days, and it feels to me like a 5-year time span has passed from April to now. Every single day, bam, 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 bam. Who does that remind you of? You ever watch the international news and realize every single day Trump will start drama for no reason? Go on, think about it, and tell me if it's not the exact same playbook being read aloud down here. Every single day, bombard you with more nonsense than your brain can take. That's why I just take a rest every now and then. You're not going to confuse me too much. Just, alright, you're doing too much now? I will just back a bit. Because if you start following it too closely, you'll go mad. Because you will start trying to make sense of things that were intentionally done to confuse you. Because a confused person is easier to gaslight. For example, coming to tell the nation that there was no ill intent or ill will between Trinidad and Venezuela. When we saw the entire exchange for the past couple of months, we saw it. And unfortunately, there were persons actually asking me to confirm whether or not Venezuela and Trinidad had beef. The gaslighting was working. Because the Prime Minister said that she and Maduro were good. What? War? No, we are in war. Diplomatic relations are good. In fact, it's stronger than ever. And confusing gullible people. They come in to ask me to confirm what she's saying is true. And I had to let them know, like, you wasn't watching news for the past couple of months? Alright.
Listen to this. Remember, I brought 2 videos of this gentleman. He goes by Elmo Girls. So he's explaining his situation again. I think it's important that we play it because he's crying out for help. And God forbid anything people can say they didn't know, right? Listen to this.
Blessed morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Every creed and race shall find an equal place. So nevertheless, a couple of days ago I make a video concerning this government and my situation, what I'm going through. 51K on my video, comments, likes, whatever. But nevertheless, I tell you all, I say, in a couple of days I have a case coming up concerning the mother. one or two people reached out to me, and I'm glad. And sometime before the week done, I'll be going to Port of Spain to do an interview with my children and all too. That's certain things I will say, certain things I will not say. But nevertheless, I didn't carry my train to no train authorities. The train authorities come direct by me, which is yesterday. So this is just a show earlier. This is just a show earlier. Why Kamala, the UNC government, why they didn't send some books, some bag, some uniform, some dress, shirt, pants for them trying to go to school. But only sent train authorities by me. But nevertheless, you see in my videos a couple of days, I will be coming up for this app, this TikTok, and matter of fact, I'll be coming up for the media. So, I seen people as myself, single parents, seeing trouble. Like how a man say, she's work CPF, don't mind the money was small, and the squatting and the government don't want to take the land and thing. But they want telling all you know. If in the comment section, well, all you know, I'll get bad comments, I get good comments. But here what I'm saying, say when UNC win, everybody win, but they not winning in this brother, boy. Look Sean, look mother. The woman halfway blind or she blind. And I want to run around to get a disability. Hey, all the people, what we really vote for, boy? What we vote for? What we really vote for? The citizen of Trinidad, what we really vote for? Fighting grass? I want to video eating grass. What I really vote for? What the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago vote for? If we vote for change, but it are not changing all here. It are not change with this government. It are not change. But they're quick to send train authorities by me yesterday. Yeah, they come. They come. They watch the sleeping, what they eating, where I have. I see, they see what I have. They what I have. They can't see a lie. So nevertheless, in a couple of days, I will be going to Port of Spain with my kids. And I go in national TV and talk my story. And I just speak the truth and nothing but the truth. But all you will see it. All you will see that video or that story on national TV with me concerning my children. So that now the video would might say these words carefully. The video I said, I am a proud, happy single father, struggling, trying my very best to assist my children. I put the mother for maintenance through the court. Right. As I said, here was said in my video, I trying my very best to provide for my children. And if from now until the 20th, if the magistrate and give me no justice for these children, I will put my children in a home. I really say that. I really, really say that. But this is to show you what this UNC government. Me ain't gone by train authorities. Me ain't gone by train authorities. But they reached by me. They reached by me yesterday. So when UNC win, everybody win. But I asked in the mighty Lord from now until Thursday. I'm not calling the place, I'm not going to say where I'm going and but I'll be going on national TV. Right? And I will let the world know exactly what's taking place. But my story and concerning my children. So every creed and race find an equal place. And to all the little supporters and everybody who try to call me and assist me, I really appreciate that. I know things is very hard with everybody. With this UNC government, things is really, really hard with everybody. So nevertheless, in a couple of days, all you'll see, I will be going on national TV. So when UNC win, everybody win. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Trinidad and Tobago.
Right? They're talking out now. But I wonder if an election call in the morning, if they wouldn't go and just vote back for the UNC. I'm just asking, but I'm bringing it on. People free to do that, that's a democratic right. That's the beauty of Trinidad and Tobago. You could vote for whoever you want to vote for. You could join any political party you choose to join, where there was in one today and you go in the next one tomorrow. That's a democratic right. I'll come into that. Listen to this.
Why, oh, why must we pave the savannah? A permanent paving of the savannah. Why? My brain trying to wrap around it, and I'm seeing little blackbirds, I'm seeing macaws flying over, parrots flying over, blue-gray tanager, things feeding in the grass. I see a squirrel not too long ago. But no, we have to pave it. I don't understand it. It's not making sense. It is not making sense. Why is this machinery out here? It does not make sense. To what? To move the parade from one side of the savannah to the next? So what happened to the next side of the savannah? I remember Eden Shand. Poor fella must be turning over in his grave for this. But no, we have to cut down the trees and put up a parking lot. Why?
Yes, so they're taking away all the green spaces, doing what they want, building thing on what is gas line, and they who says no gas line, and who say they blow the gas line, and it ain't no gas in it. So if it ain't no gas in it, why you need to blow the gas line? So is it have gas, it don't have gas? Is the thing going on the gas? I don't know. All I could tell the Tonopuna Regional Corporation, you all do all the necessary paperwork, because in the event of anything, it will have a paper trail. And if the Tonopuna PR Regional Corporation are the custodians of the Etihad Savannah, it is in their right. Anybody want to do anything, whether it's corporate, whether it's the state, whether private, whatever, that they should be informed and there's a process to follow. When you don't follow processes, when anything happens, then you just blame this one, that one, that one. But when you have the processes there, you know where the blame goes. So let's see how that pans out. They are determined to do what they do, and we just have to be determined to do the right thing. Listen to this.
So Philip Alexander just tried to smear me again. He took two old stories from 2016, threw my name in the middle, and then asked, I wonder if. That's not journalism. That is defamation by innuendo. And you know why he did it? Because 2 days ago, I said that the SOE and the PDOs are unconstitutional. I served this country for over 27 years in the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. I was in charge of the National Coastal Surveillance Radar Center. 0 charges, 0 findings. My record speaks for itself. My lawyers have already been instructed. Lies have consequences. But I'm not going to be bullied into silence. The real issue is still this. Government is abusing emergency powers and selling out our sovereignty. If you're tired of lies and want the truth on national security, follow this page. Share this video. Let TNT see what desperation really looks like.
Right, so Dr. Commander Dindial, former commander, I think, of the Air Guard, who has a lot of knowledge based on what he's saying on security, excuse me, and security apparatus. If you want to follow him and see what he's talking about, whether he knows what he's talking about, he tell all the what to do. So he has having his say also. I don't. Listen to me now. Let me look for this article here. Oh, yeah. Give me a minute, I will get it. So, we're getting some good news. Venezuela inked gas deals with BP, two other foreign companies. This was August the 13th, 2026. This was in the Observer. It says, Caracas, Venezuela. Venezuela granted license Thursday for 3 foreign companies to look for and produce natural gas as the government opens up the energy sector under intense U.S. pressure. After the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro in January, interim leader Delcy Rodriguez yielded to President Donald Trump's administration and reformed Venezuela's energy law so that the U.S. and other foreign companies can benefit from its vast oil reserves and other natural resources. Since then, Venezuela has signed several agreements with foreign companies to look for, produce, and export oil and gas. But the devastating June 24th earthquakes, which killed more than 6,300 people, prompted a halt in the granting of these licenses. The process resumed Thursday as permits went to British Petroleum, that is BP, XRG of the United Arab Emirates, and UCC, a company based in Qatar. The 3 companies will work to develop a natural gas field called Loran. Venezuela has the world's largest proven reserves of oil and also boasts large deposit of natural gas. In June, the government granted Shell a license to work in a different area of the Loran field. I have a special interest in gas to promote national development, Rodriguez said Thursday as she announced the new license. In exchange for Venezuela's opening up its energy sector, the United States has eased sanctions that has been in place when Maduro was in power, allowing foreign companies to work in Venezuela. Maduro was a leftist criticized as ruling like an autocrat and was accused of stealing elections. That was in the Jamaica Observer. I just want to say this. Yes, Venezuela has granted license to treat with the gas, Lauren, Manatee, and all that. But one thing you will have to pay attention to, the licenses are granted to transnational companies, not Trinidad and Tobago or a company, a Trinidad and Tobago company. These people have their stakeholders. BP has their stakeholder in England. And when Venezuela grant these transnational companies these licenses, they are in charge of their license. The contract is between the company that is not a local company, is a transnational company, and Venezuela. When Venezuela sell them gas, whoever them want to do business with after is no concern of Venezuela. However, if you have BP sitting and speaking to Venezuela, they will be working on the best deal in the interest of their shareholders in England, not Trinidad. Now, they will have to come on the land in Trinidad and use the equipment, whatever, granted. However, Trinidad don't have no play to say, well, we want 50% or we know. It's whatever BP gives Trinidad from out of that we would get. Whereas before, under the People's National Movement, it was Trinidad and Tobago sitting, talking, and making the deals with Venezuela, and BP and Shell and them was at the side, waiting for whatever we grant them. No, it's not so. Them in charge, we go get something. But I guess this government happy to get something. And no business if we get shortchanged, as long as they could show they get something, and the supporters so happy for something that they will take anything. So you must be mindful of that. But anything to better our economic standard in this country, I am all for it. But as they were warned, read the fine print. Because sometimes we go to the bank, we sell and we're so excited we get the loan. They give away the contract to sign. We don't ever say, well, I don't know, people say I'm taking it home to read it. You're so happy for the money, which they know you're happy, and you sign one time. And then something go on with the loan, you mightn't pay it on the same time that it's due and whatever, and they send you something and stating that you're owing this and you and overdue, and you have arrears and all that, and he's saying, but I don't understand that. And when you go in, they show you the fine print, the one you have to take the magnifying glass to read, but we don't read, the fine print is really the contract. So I hope this government is reading the fine print with whatever they sign with BP, not Venezuela, I know, but whatever contract they sign with BP. I hope they read the fine print, and at the end of it, we don't end up where, like in 2015, when the PNM government came into office and was saddled with a 14% increase in salaries that they paid, UNC and the PP government committed that. And the PNM came in and paid it, although the country was in a recession, as told us by the then Governor General of the Central Bank, who is a family member of a high-ranking person in the PP government at the time and all that. And when the PNM government looking to get money pulled from here, then when they go to the oil companies, so say, well, all your corporate taxes, what the money, whatever, they say, hey, the PP government, they tell me we don't have to pay no taxes, nothing until 2024. And Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley, and they had to go back and renegotiate those contracts so that we could actually get money from it. Then it's good to know history. So I'm seeing here, this is from Stuart Young. Recent developments within Loran. Yesterday in Caracas, Venezuela, 3 separate oil and gas companies signed an agreement or agreements for the exploration and operation of unassociated gas hydrocarbons of phase 2 of Loran, BP, XR, and UAE, and UCC Holding from Qatar, and with PDV visa. Not surprisingly, the Canopy-San Bissessa government was nowhere near or present at these arrangements, at these agreement negotiations and signing in Venezuela. However, again, not surprisingly, Canopy-San Bissessa is quick to try to associate these with these events. The truth is the UNC government is not present at negotiations where decisions are being made with the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela with respect to Loran or any Venezuelan gas field, and this puts Trinidad and Tobago at a serious disadvantage. Do not allow the dishonest UNC government flood the zone propaganda machine to confuse you or mislead you. We are being negatively affected by the incompetence of this government at every turn. Plants at Point Lisas are shut down, Methanex and Nutrien, and stakeholders are saying that there may be further shutdowns. To have 4 companies now involved in Loran, as Shell signed phase 1, means that there will have to be significant negotiations and discussions amongst themselves and Venezuela to decide how to develop the fields and on what terms, including commercial terms, between themselves and Venezuela. So do not be fooled by the UNC. The same way some were fooled by Canopy-San Bissessa that they would get 10% increase in 16 months late increases. And 60 months later, they are still waiting. The UNC is constantly attempting to mislead the population. So let me read that again. The same way some were fooled by Canopy-San Bissessa that they would get 10% increases, and 16 months later, they are still waiting. The UNC is constantly attempting to mislead the population. We are not winning. In continued service, Stuart R. Young, SCMP, August the 14th, 2026. Right, so as I would have said, while we're happy that some movements are happening, it's not in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago, because Trinidad and Tobago was not sitting at the table and negotiating with Venezuela. It was transnational companies. And people will say, why Stuart, always everything you have to come out and say, yes, he was there. Why not? If I build a house, put in all the fitting, paint the house, but some scene happened where I couldn't put up the curtain, and you come and put the curtain where people can live in it, you want to take all the glory for the curtain you put up, and me who build the house, paint the house, put in the fittings, I mustn't say nothing? Not that making sense. I must always say when you talk about the house, you put curtain, I say yes, as I build it, I paint it, I furnish it. When you say the curtain, I say yes, I build it. That's only fair. You can expect a man to put down all he hard work in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago, get everything done with her, and they come and change in the administration in America and they stop at this and then because you come now and reap any benefits, you want to talk like if it's yours alone and Stuart, you mustn't say nothing, no, Dr. Oli mustn't say nothing, no, only unfair. Glass they talk about it all the time, what the hell? All they do all the hard work, all the heavy lifting. So, let me read this here. Hey, come now, man. With this thing. Right. Venezuela, okay, I read that. Okay, great. So, I wonder if I have a picture up. Apparently not. Oh, yes. He's such a beauty to behold. So I see something off of Susan Lowry page. It says 2 days ago. Sean Sobers. When next time you're trying to pass political rhetoric as fact, you would be best advised that not all voters are loyal, blind UNC supporters and trolls. The article, Political Attribution of the Entire Achievement of the Current Government, is inaccurate. It is false and misleading. For those who can think for themselves, there is the actual timeline for Mannequin Cocoon, 2015. Precisely says the government unitization agreement with Venezuela. 2018, Mannequin declared commercial under PNM. 2023, Rowley government / NGC, Dragon Exploration and Production ENP license, establishing a precedent for Trinidad and Tobago Venezuela Cross-Border Gas Corporation, May 2024. Rowley government secured the US OFAC authorization for BP / NGC to pursue cocaine Mannequin, July 2024. Rowley government, Venezuela grants BP and MGC a 20-year Cocoon and EP license, August 2024. Rowley government, 3D seismic survey of Cocoon and Mannequin completed, 2025. The US authorization was subsequently revoked, disrupting the project, 2026. Beside this, as the government, BP agreed to sell NGC 20% interest in Mannequin, and the project moved towards another attempt at FID. Mannequin Cocoon is a multi-government project. The predecessor government initiated a unitization framework in 2015. The Rowley government made major advances in 2023-24, including securing the US OFAC authorization, obtaining the 20-year Cocoon license for British Petroleum, like BP / NGC National Gas Company, and completing 3D seismic work. The current predecessor government has subsequently advanced the project further through NGC's 20% acquisition of Mannequin. As you can see, the bulk of the work was done by the PNM under Keith Rowley and Stuart Young. So Sean, next time, ensure you have facts to support those statements you make, because right-thinking citizens will call you out on those statements. Excuse me, right? So somebody will tell the truth at the end of the day. And as I said, if I build the house, paint it, put in fittings, and you just come and put curtains, and you want to move as if you build the whole house, and I mustn't say nothing, no, I telling you, I build the house. So let me continue. So Listen to this.
Trinidad. Yesterday, they cut the ribbon on the old ArcelorMittal Middle Steel plant at Point Lisas. New name, Ibis Steel. New owner, a U.S. company called Pinnacle Steel and Vanadium Corporation. They promised 500 jobs. They promised economic growth. They promised Trinidad would supply 50% of America's vanadium needs. But here is what they did not tell you. Vanadium has been classified by the United States Environmental Protection Agency in the same toxic category as lead, arsenic, and mercury. Processing it contaminates water supplies. It generates toxic tailings that leach into the ground for years. It produces sulfur dioxide emissions that cause acid rain. It poses risks to 55% of aquatic species in surrounding seawater. And breathing vanadium-rich air, according to published research, carries unknown but potentially serious health consequences. Now here is the part that should make every Trinidadian stop. The U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, at the opening ceremony, complained about environmental regulations. America, with all its resources, does not want this processing on its own soil. So they brought it here. We already said no to data centers in DB. The same questions apply here. Who gets the jobs? Who gets the profits? And who gets to live next to the pollution? Watchman TNT. Where the truth detonates. Stay right there.
All right? So people define print. There's a lot of information out there. Ask the questions. We are a democracy. The last time I checked, all of we under SOE. We will continue. So, listen to this.
National Flour Mills has reported a drop in profits for the 6-month period ended June 30th, 2026. Chairman Hamlin Jailal says the company's after-tax profit declined marginally by 2.4% to $22.2 million, despite revenue increasing to $263 million, $3 million over last year's profit of $260 million. He says there was a cost of sales increase of $5.8 million, which was largely due to increases in grain prices. Despite the dip in profits, the NFM chairman says the outlook for the company remains optimistic in 2026. Meanwhile, Angostura has also reported a drop in profits for the half year, with its 6-month profit after tax dropping by $5 million to $62 million. However, Chairman Gary Hunt says this performance was resilient as growth was achieved despite the unprecedented increase in excise duties in the local markets, as he pointed to strong performances in key domestic areas and through its ready-to-drink products. Hunt says Angostura deliberately absorbed a significant portion of taxes instead of passing on the costs to the public. However, former Prime Minister and opposition MP Stuart Young questions if the recent financial performance of state-controlled companies like First Citizens Group and Angostura reflect decisions made by the government.
Banks and insurance companies were saddled with new taxes and an asset-based tax. FCB now, over 10% decline in profitability. Alcohol, saddled with massive increases on tax. Angostura, revenue down, profit down. They don't want focus on that.
Canto C9 Chairman Lisa Agard says the Caribbean's increasing demand has made it imperative that it come together to not only secure needed capacity for data, but also proper returns from big tech companies. Agard, who spoke with Business Watch at the Canto conference in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, says the Caribbean should model its approach after the European Union, who have taken the lead with big tech regulation to ensure the region gets its fair share.
In a spirit of commercial negotiation, to agree a way in which collectively as an industry we can solve for the critical issues that we are encountering. Because that gap between the first world and the third world will only widen. And the last thing we want is for the Caribbean to be left further behind.
And now for a look at today's energy and foreign exchange prices. Peter Christopher, CNC3 Business Watch.
So I just playing the information that's out there, you know. Listen to this. All of this fan giving me hell. I ain't taking it off. In fact, I started to feel cold, you know. That there is economist, I think Patrick Watson, if I'm not mistaken. And this was 2 days ago in the Guardian. Economists urge government check the fine print of the US $750 million steel plant revival, warns of risk and unanswered questions. Excuse me. While the planned US $750 million revival of the former ArcelorMittal steel plant at Point Lisas could provide a much-needed boost to Trinidad and Tobago's economy, 2 economists are warning that the potential risk and fine print surrounding the investments cannot be ignored. Economist Professor Patrick Watson and Dr. Jamila Harris both believe the project could generate foreign exchange, stimulate economic activity, and create employment, but say its ultimate benefit to the country will depend heavily on the arrangement underpinning the investment. Watson, however, is particularly cautious, questioning whether the country has seen enough information to determine if the deal is as beneficial as it appears, and warning that multinational corporations ultimately pursue their own interests. I do not know if this is a Trojan horse. I don't know if these are Greeks bearing gifts, Watson told Guardian Media. The warning follows Monday's announcement that Ibis Steel Company, backed by US-based Pinnacle Steel and Vanadium Corporation, plans to restart the Point Lisa steel plant with a US $750 million investment, creating up to 1,000 jobs. The facility is also expected to process vanadium, which US officials say will help secure critical mineral supplies outside China. Watson said that if the venture succeeds, one of its most important contributions could be foreign exchange rather than direct employment. He explained that steel production would effectively allow Trinidad and Tobago to again monetize its natural gas by using it to transform imported raw material into a product for export. These highly industrialized, sophisticated complexes, they are not great generators of employment, Watson said, questioning whether employment expectation could prove exaggerated. Instead, he said the foreign exchange generated would have a wider multiplier effect across the economy, helping businesses that require foreign currency to import goods and sustain employment. But Watson stressed that he was waiting to see results before declaring the venture a success. He noted that steel production had previously failed in Point Lisas, with the ArcelorMittal operation closing in 2016. He said he was not yet aware of what changes in market condition now makes the industry viable. I am not going to be happy if when the time comes, we hear excuses about why it doesn't work, and then eventually, somewhere down the road, another decision is taken to shut down the plant, he said. Watson also raised concerns about the availability of natural gas, noting that domestic production has declined and questioning where the gas required by the revived facility will come from. He said additional Venezuelan supplies could potentially help, but maintained these remain insufficient publicly available information on the issue. Watson said he hoped that those behind the investment had done the necessary homework and wished the project success. However, he warned, if this is something that is hastily done just to gain political points and to score points on promises of greater employment and a greater earning of foreign exchange, that is not something that I'm going to applaud at all. Wait, no, it nearly finished. It's interesting. Just a minute. I was stressed at waiting. Right. I pull the thing down and I know which part I reach. Hey, give me a minute. I don't know. Did I explain gas material production exaggerated? shut down. SU, one anything you want. Right. He speculated that the investment could also reflect Trinidad and Tobago increasingly close relationship with the administration of US President Donald Trump, although he stressed that this was speculation. Harris similarly believes the project has significant potential, but said much will depend on the agreement negotiated by the government, particularly regarding local content. She said strong provision ensuring the equipment, materials, services, and workers, including employees at managerial levels, are sourced locally wherever possible, would allow more of the investment to circulate within the domestic economy. If the agreement is like that, then there is a good potential for them to be bringing in foreign exchange in the restarting phase and also in the operational phase, Harris said. However, she warned that the opposite could occur if equipment and services are largely imported and senior personnel are brought into TNT on expatriate contracts. Harris also wants greater clarity on possible tax concessions and other incentives granted to the investor. She said while an injection of foreign direct investment would produce economic activity and growth, the more important question was how these gains would be distributed. The country, she said, should therefore look beyond the headline numbers of jobs and examine the quality and the level of employment being created, including whether Trinidad and Tobago nationals will have opportunities to move into senior and managerial positions. Harris posited that environmental safeguards surrounding steel and vanadium production must also be closely scrutinized. I think that there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think the government has to provide a bit more information to the country as to how this will actually work, Harris said. But basically, what the two economists are doing is warning Trinidad and Tobago and the government to read the fine print and don't get so carried away by all the fancy talk. And I just played with the video that tells you about the danger of having that plant in this country, especially if it is not monitored properly. Right? Then we're seeing national flour mill profits slip to 2.6%. It slipped 2.6% to 22.2 million. And there's a decline in the profits after tax for 6 months ending June 30th, 2026. I'm also seeing where, again, I'm putting up this picture, but it's not this he's speaking about, right? Government policies impacting FCB Angostura profits, says Young. So former Prime Minister and Opposition MP Stuart Young says the recent decline in profits of state-controlled companies may be a symptom of government policies. At yesterday's opposition news conference, Young specifically pointed to the performance of the First Citizen Group and Angostura, who both reported decreased profits in recently released reports. And then also, new taxes, lower profits. So again, this in Trini lose. New taxes, lower profits, FCB and Angostura both report declines as Young blames government policy. Right, two major state-linked companies, two profit declines, and now a political fight over whether government policy is part of the reason. Right, so it is outlined here. Former Finance Minister Stuart Young is pointing to the Finance Minister. It's pointing to the latest result from First Citizen and Angostura, arguing that new taxes and fiscal measures are putting pressure on profitability. For the 9 months ending June 30th, First Citizen reported profits after tax are about 646 million, down by 10.2% from roughly 720 million for the same period last year. FCB own reporting indicates the new commercial assets levy affecting earnings But that was not the only factor. The group also recorded higher credit impairment charges. Angostura, meanwhile, reported that after tax of 62 billion for the first 6 months of the year, down to 8.1 from 67.5 million. The company has said that 100% increases in excise duty affected margins because it chose to absorb part of the additional cost instead of passing it to full increase on the consumer. But Angostura also pointed to weaker international demands and trade disruptions. Its local revenue actually increased. So people drinking more alcohol in Trinidad right now. So the numbers confirm that both companies made less profit, but the causes are more complicated than one political talking point. Young says the results are a warning sign about government policy. The company owns disclosure show taxes did contribute to pressure while also identifying other business factors. The real question is whether these taxes are raising necessary revenue without doing too much damage to investment and profitability. And the person who wrote this story, the Trini Loser, said, do you believe government's new taxes are becoming a drag on major local companies? Are these declines being overstated politically? So what I read is what they would have written, not what Stuart Young said, but he did mention, as I said before, government policies hurting the economy. I'm also seeing whether the weather, WHETHER, is driving chicken shortage. Hot sun and heavy rains have left Trinidad and Tobago consumers facing a chicken shortage. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries said yesterday the shortage was being influenced by a combination of factors rather than by a fundamental shortage of production capacity. Local weather conditions have also placed significant pressure on poultry production. The exceptionally hot conditions being experienced in Trinidad and Tobago have required farmers to implement additional heat management measures and in some cases reduce the number of birds placed on farm, the ministry stated in a release. The ministry said it was closely monitoring the poultry sector and engaging producers and other stakeholders amidst concerns about the availability of chicken at retail outlets. And it went on to say some other stuff. But people, all chicken lovers, the heat and other factors creating problem where we could have a shortage of chicken. You need to look at that also. So let me continue. This is hold on. I'm coming like them showing my snotty nose. So this here is the police expect update on new posts by mid-September. So Olo Commissioner of Police, Alistair Guerrero, continues to remain tight-lipped about how joint police and army units will operate from the new police posts being erected in communities across the country. A senior officer says an update is expected by mid-September regarding its rollout. So they can check with the police, who will have to be manning these posts 24/7. They can check with them, but the officer here seemed confident that they would know everything by mid-September. So let's hope he gets his wish. All right. Let's hope he gets your wish. So you all look at this. This is CNC3 people meter poll.
No, they didn't. Because a little more explanation is needed as to the purpose of it and the reasons.
I think so, yeah. Because the way they're operating is like they want to make sure that people are aware of the police force, what it could do, and it could be a good thing for the public and everybody.
Well, I for one don't have enough information on the police post. All I've been hearing is about the one in is it Tabidi? Tunapuna? Okay, yeah. the other police posts, well, it's just, I mean, for the greater good, we would like it, but we need more information.
Not really, you know what? You know, it's early still.
No, I'm getting no information up to now. I haven't received any information about it because I don't be much online, so I wouldn't know.
They're not giving any information on it. They're not giving any information on the data center. They're not giving any or nothing but lock up.
Yeah. So the public is saying them in no neither. The police officer say he no, but by mid-September. So let me see how that goes. I'm going to play you a video, and it don't have obscene language, but it may have some offensive language. So please, these the ones are wrong. Let them come out of the room if you're not into that too. Just move away and all that, but it's important at the end of the day because that is how people speak, right? So listen to this.
The people currently who's the biggest liability to this country is not the government themselves, but the people within the population that still believe the shit they have to say. Oh, but the government say, but Kamala say she got yes. Now shut your shitting mouth and understand what they say is not what they do. Alright? You could listen to everything that they say. You could listen to it nice and clear. But you ever see what they do? You ever observe the pattern of they lie to you, do the opposite of what they promise, and then you just sit on with it, taking it up your caca hole, just like, oh yeah, that normal. That normal? That normal? For the people running the country to lie to you, make your life worse on purpose, and for you to keep saying, okay, yeah, we believe you this time. If I tell you, right? If I tell you come closer to me and I go and slap you, and every time you come close to me, I backhand you, you ever go and trust to come close to me again? No, you go and keep your distance. Because every time you come close to me, I slapping you. These people is the ones who keep coming close just to get slapped. Alright? That is the biggest liability in this country right now. Dotish pieces of shit still believing what the government say is for the country benefit when they blatantly calling the country garbage. Alright, you all wanted to say PNM was the problem, them running the country into the ground. What happened to Rowley? Where he did? He anywhere in Trinidad? No, he there somewhere nicer. And now Kamala again the same sweet treatment. She saying Trinidad is a dump. She want to build AI data centers everywhere. She want to run this place into the ground for some fast cash to run to a first world country, to run to a better setup, to go and find something else elsewhere. Alright, all them doing is using we. And the biggest problem isn't the fact that they're using we, it's the fact that most of the older generation, they want to sit down saying, oh, but the government say, are you still trusting them? Are you still trusting people who have been proven to lie to you time and time again just to have the way? Stop that. Alright, at this point it's a mental illness. Okay, you need help. You genuinely need help, you masochist.
So I was intrigued when I heard the young chap use the word masochist. I think that's what you. So I looked it up, and so that is the word for today. Brought to you by Let Me Talk the Thing and Bounce Up Central.
The people currently who's
my mistake, just now. This is it. Word for today.
Today's word is brought to you by the letter M.
Definition of masochist. A masochist is a person who derives pleasure from experiencing pain, suffering, or humiliation, often in a psychological or physical sense. The term is frequently associated with a tendency to seek out situations that involve discomfort or hardship, either emotionally or physically. Synonyms for masochist: pain seeker, self-punisher, sufferer, glutton for punishment, flagellant. Antonyms for masochist: hedonist, comfort seeker, pleasure seeker, sensualist, Epicurean.
Are you a masochist? Just asking. So let me continue. Oh God, the thing nice. This handsome gentleman here is the new president of the NUGFW, National Union of Government and Federated Workers. Now that union was formed by one Miss Elma Francois back in the day, yes. that and SWWTU, Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union. Yeah. Anyways, they have recently signed on the dotted line for some 10%. And apparently people ain't getting it. No, this union represents daily rated workers. They haven't gotten their increases in salaries yet. And I just want to add this as while I'm speaking. Daily rated workers who work all parts in the public service, they are the tradesmen, laborers. So carpenters, especially like for hospitals, carpenters, painters, welders, electricians, masons, plumbers, seamstress, tailors. The list goes on and on. So their work is valuable because imagine not having on hand carpenters, masons, electricians, welders, and all the tradesmen in hospitals working, and plumbers, and who will fix the toilet and all them, so much toilets in the hospital goes bad. Who will deal with the electricity, the lights and the plumbing and the fittings? Who will deal with the masonry when a wall fall like a danger people? Or a carpenter to put up the windows, the doors, and or the laborers to do the clean? Who will do it? And I'm saying they're a valuable part of the public service. They help keep the public service in check in terms of details. You need them, right? I want to know in all the years that NUGFW has been taking daily rated officers' money every month, how come they have not negotiated for a pension for these daily rated workers, men and women who serve the years in the public service until 60, so they could get a pension like public officers? How come NUGFW ain't negotiate for a pension plan for daily rated workers, that when they retire at 60, as the law says, they have now to wait till they're 65 to apply for old age pension? It's not automatic they're getting it now, you know. They have to apply at 65 for old age pension, having worked in the government service for years. However, I understand the workers in NUGFW who used to be daily rated workers in different areas, and then they were voted into office and they are part of the executive now. I have no beef with that. Or they elevate, no problem. But they have a pension plan for them. So when them retire at 60 from NUGFW, the union, them getting a pension at 60. But the people who just pay all of them salary, when them retire, they have to wait till 65 to apply for old age pension. So all they just get every month is NIS. Is that right? I just asking a question. So let me continue. So Lambert, the president general, whatever from before, has shown his hand. He's a UNC because he was a UNC senator. He was in the Senate and all that. He has shown his hand. Mr. Street during all the campaigns for UNC last year, the election, he was in the crowd, I was told, but he keep a low profile. The workers in green and stuff who ball in Rowley must go pay, and must go and vote in UNC and all that. I understand it's daily rated workers and from WASA. That is their right to choose who they want, but they were out there in union jerseys, not in street clothes. Union jersey, meaning they're representing the union and they're talking about 10%, 10%, and they were led to believe if they vote for the UNC, they will get 10%. So now, Mr. Street is saying, the National Union of Government and Federated Workers, President General Christopher Street says, somebody dropped the ball. So, in my opinion, is you drop the ball. No, somebody dropped the ball. You, as the leader and head of NUGFW, you dropped the ball. That is my opinion. Somebody dropped the ball in implementing new salaries for approximately 20,000 workers who were granted a 10% wage increase earlier this year. With workers still waiting for the adjusted salaries, Keith told Guardian Media yesterday that he had spoken with Chief Personnel Officer Dr. Darrell Dindial and was informed that the matter had reached the Finance and General Purpose Committee. The boss of the CPO is the Minister of Finance, whether PNM, UNC, wherever. The boss of the CPO is the Minister of Finance. So the Venjana Tanku, who is the Minister of Finance, the CPO answers to him. The Minister of Finance could say what you're getting, what you ain't getting, and whatever. The CPO has nothing to do with that. Why don't you all go directly to the Minister of Finance? Because all they promise people, if all they vote UNC, they're going to get their money. Leave the CPO alone. The CPO is directed by the Minister of Finance. And Comrade Skeet, all they knew very well, the country didn't have that kind of money to pay 10%. But all they play politics, in my opinion. Fool workers, tell them the 4% the PNM was offering, the wicked, the bad, and the evil. When all they went to a presentation that showed the economic view of the economy back then, and if they pay more than 4%, how much will it cost? And they say take 4% now. Yes, it was not enough. We could all agree on that. But the unions had a part to play in where for 6 years no negotiation happened. The union had a part to play in that also. Anywho, as I was saying, the 4% and whatever, people within the rights, and you all promised people if they vote UNC, they're going to get 10%. Public officers, the related workers and others, latched on to that, and they voted UNC. UNC had 28 seats, so all they did well. Don't come now to be fooling workers, in my opinion, that somebody dropped the ball. The only person dropped the ball is you. That is my opinion. So let me continue. All your good, yes? So right now, we are seeing let me see if I see it here. Okay. That's not your thing. WASA workers revolt as Gonzalez accuses UNC and PSL betrayal. This is off of Ian Allen's page. WASA protest erupts as workers demand answers and former ministers accuses UNC and PSA of betrayal. Tensions surrounding WASA escalated on Friday as workers protested outside the authorities' head office in St. Joseph, demanding answers over ongoing negotiations and the way forward. The protest follows a late-night gathering at the authorities' compound on Thursday, where Public Service Association President Felicia Thomas accused WASA board and leadership of failing to engage workers. In a video posted on Thursday night, Thomas said workers remain in the compound waiting for response from the authority. She said by 10 p.m., none of the directors or the chairman of the board had communicated with the workers regarding negotiations. Excuse me. The dispute intensified on Friday with workers taking their protests outside WASA St. Joseph head office. The latest development have also triggered a political response from former Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez. In a Facebook post on Friday, August 14, Gonzalez accused the UNC and PSL leadership of making promises to WASA workers that have not been fulfilled. Gonzalez claimed that the workers had supported the UNC in 2025 general election because they believe promises made to them by the party and PSA. Director, if you're listening, could you find the video where Felicia Thomas was speaking on a UNC platform, and in the crowd was people in green and shouting, Rowley must go, and UNC and UNC. Could you find that for me, please? And if you find it, could you post it, put it on the asset board for me, please? I hope you hear me. So, right, so we want to chronicle this thing. I had forgotten to ask you for it. Right. He argued that PSL leadership could not could not place responsibility solely on WASA management and board, pointing out that the authority ultimately operates under the direction of the government. Gonzalez also called on PSL leadership to be truthful with workers and hold UNC administration accountable for what he described as a betrayal. He further criticized Minister of Public Utilities Barry Perdat, accusing him of remaining silent as the dispute unfolds and saying that the minister must accept responsibility for the situation. So as I say, Director, if you're hearing me, could you find that video, please? Let me carry you all back in history just a little bit. And after you all listen, I will give you all the talk the thing meter poll question. I just want to say this at the start. Felicia Thomas, the president of PSA, came from Wassa. Leroy Batiste came from Wassa. Duke came from Wassa. Wassa has always made sure they go out and vote in election. Well, nobody voted for Leroy Batiste, but Felicia Thomas and Watson Duke. Wassa workers does make sure they go out and vote in the numbers, the 2,000 strong or whatever, for the Wassa president. That is how Duke stayed in PSA for so long, and then when he couldn't stay no longer, he passed it to our next Wassa man, who is now the Minister of Labour, and then it passed to our next Wassa woman in an election. So Wassa has supported. Everything Wassa want, I agree with them, they should get the workers, they should get it. Because they always supported PSA in good faith to negotiate on them behalf. If public officers in the public service ain't go out and vote, and then do they have to do, to whatever, PSA under Duke and the Felicia and Leroy has never taken care of public officers. Then let's take care of Wassa workers. Me get vexed with them because public officers don't go out and vote, right? And Felicia Thomas had these Wassa workers all over in meetings and they chanting UNC. Rowley must go and all that, all over, and they believe what she said. Felicia Thomas and the PSA is the union that sits, not the workers. The union that has the RMU status to sit with the management of Wassa for the public officers is PSA. So it's not the workers that sit with management, it's PSA that sit with the management to negotiate on behalf of the workers. For the daily rated workers up there is NGFW that sit with the management of Wassa to negotiate on behalf of the Wassa workers. The estate police and them, who are the people there, they just negotiate for their people in front of the management. So it's not the workers. So if management a meeting with PSA and Felicia Thomas, what went wrong? Because PSA is a UNCB team. How come they're not listening to Felicia now? Because she bring home public officers' votes, you know. So how come now they want to blame the Wassa management? In my opinion, the person to blame is Felicia Thomas and the PSA. Because them had to sit down and negotiate and they tell workers they will get 10%. So look at a little chronicle of this thing, right? Watch this.
I reiterate the commitment of the PSA to continue to stand in defense of all public officers. We remain committed to advocating for legislative approaches that build rather than destroy the lives of people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we continue to work with this UNC-led government that continues to work with us in a collaborative manner to put workers first.
Okay, that is Felicia Thomas there telling you that PSA working with the UNC government because the UNC government put in workers first. Okay, listen to this.
Suffering is when
You get paid today and it's done tomorrow. Suffering is when every month you're going home with less and less from the supermarket because prices sky high and your salary low. Suffering is when you're borrowing from your friend this month to pay back the friend you borrowed from last month. Suffering is when your husband, you, and your eldest child put your salaries together and you still can't afford a house in this country. Suffering is when the government taking your money for a medical plan and you're waiting 2 years, you can't get your claims back. Suffering is when you can't pay your bills and you have to pick and choose which one to pay this month. Suffering is when your children belly bubbling and you don't even have sugar water to give them. Suffering is when you can't afford to put your children in extracurricular activities because your salary won't permit. But they're telling you tighten your belt while they slacken theirs. Suffering is when you can't plan your life because you're job in limbo for the past 10 years. Suffering is when you're on contract for 29 years and you can't become permanent. Suffering is when you retire and they pay you a pension in a substantive post instead of the post you have worked in for the past 2 years. That is suffering.
So she outlined her case on a UNC platform that the PNM had people suffering. And she spoke about it when you're working on contract and they make it permanent. Well, she was a contracted worker in WASA and they didn't make her permanent while she had PSA. And she in a bigger range now and will get all the enumeration and stuff from that. So that was how they're making a plea again to public officers and people why they should vote UNC because she said they care, right? Let me go again.
To protect the interests and welfare of my members, I say to all state sector workers, a vote for the UNC is a vote that negotiations will start with no less than 10%.
Okay. She promised them that. Listen again.
14 to 16, 17 to 19, the very same period that we rejected the offer of 4%. So, as I've said in the past and I'll continue to say, we look forward to no later than this budget, September, October, where workers can finally see that 10% offer placed on the table so that we could recommence negotiations at 10%. And of course, we are behind for periods.
Okay. Listen to this.
And the suffering that workers endured over the last decade. But the labor movement must never forget our history. And just as we celebrate all our victories, we must remember those who inflicted pain and were just to workers. Because when workers forget their history, they become vulnerable to repeating it. Comrades, do you remember when negotiation became an exercise in delay, frustration, and disrespect? Do you remember the years that passed without any engagement? Do you remember when you protested, you were mocked, and you were told that you would get your money, but you would lose your job? Do you remember the imposition of 4%? There was no negotiation, only imposition. Comrades, do you remember the attempt to impose the non-consolidation of quota? Brothers and sisters, this was an attack on your livelihood, an attack on your children and their children, an attack on pensions, an attack on generations of workers. Do you remember the attempt to deny pensioners the arrears they rightfully earned through decades of service to this nation? Who did that? Who did that? we must do? We must resist their lies, their treachery, and we must ensure that they never return to continue the disservice they did to workers.
Yeah? But I want to tell her people ain't get money and people lost in their work. But she hype up, because she believe in the UNC. I come into something and all they listen to this. All they think it right here. Woo! All they think it right here. All they remember this?
Felicia Thomas, and I'm here to give you another update on your negotiations. %10 is here. Today, the executive of the PSA met with the personnel department and received a formal offer on your behalf of 10%. Comrades, I must say, promise made, yet another promise kept.
A few moments later.
But CNC3 News has been informed that what the PSA received was not an official offer, but rather a commitment that a 10% offer will be made subject to negotiations. We learned that the letter the PSA was given said it has been agreed the CPU will propose a 10% increase, but concluded by saying that the exact terms of this proposed increase still have to be negotiated. For it to be an official offer, we understand that it would have included a proposal on how the 10% would have been spread out over the negotiating periods, a listing of allowances and changes to rates, information on the cost of living allowance, traveling facilities, car loans, tax exemptions, and a salary plan to show the new rates. Now, several efforts to get a response from Thomas were unsuccessful today. The PSA president has remained steadfast that she wants her members to receive their back.
Right? Listen to this.
While the last administration would have withheld their rightful increases in salaries, that this administration, the UNC government, they have ensured that this registered collective agreement is honored, and today the workers are celebrating.
And any change in terms or any other further matters were discussed for this final?
No, because this 2014 to 2016 negotiating period was already settled, signed between the parties, that being the PSA and the NIBTT. It had already been settled, registered in the court, and it was just a matter of giving the NIBTT the authorization to pay the increase in salaries and the outstanding arrears relative to the settlement.
On reflection, how do you describe the situation?
It was unfortunate. It was unfortunate to know that an organization that is self-sufficient and did not require funding from the government to pay their workers were withheld from doing so just for political gain. It was unfortunate, and today the workers, they are free from that type of victimization.
President, the Prime Minister announced that budget will be in October, and I know that you are looking forward to 10%. What are the expectations? Any lingering or any noises in the background that you may hear that would benefit the public officers who are anticipating this 10%?
Well, is it that 10% you think will be for one collective period or for two bargaining period?
So I'll answer the both in one. The period that we're talking about is the very same period that 4% was offered, which is 2014 to 2016 and 2017 to 2019. 10% is an offer that is totally different to 4%. And we have all the faith that this government, just as they have been honoring their promises thus far, that they will honor the promise of the 10%, and we are looking forward to this year's budget in October.
Right? So she was talking about NIB and the settlement and blaming the PNM for not settling and thing because them doesn't make their own money. Okay. But what happened now? But WASA does make their own money under the UNC government that they tell people to vote for. Why it is then giving the WASA workers the 10%? Listen to me now. And what the 10% in public service, we ain't got no 10%. We get 40%. That was the $20,000 that some public officers get. And we hear now 60% is non-cash. When she talking all over, she never said nothing about non-cash. Where did non-cash come in? All you go be the judge and I listen to this. So it have protest in Wassa now and the damn right to protest, but I feel they're protesting the wrong person. Yeah, so Wassa workers are protesting for the monies, which is their right. They were promised if you vote UNC, you'll get 10%. So I don't understand how Felicia Thomas having problems with the UNC State Board in Wassa to get the money for the workers at Wassa. I don't understand it at all. People meet a poll coming out of this. So get ready to vote. The question is, do you think that the PSA, which is the Public Service Association, lied to its members about 10% increase in salaries? Again, do you think that the PSA lied to its members about the 10% increase in salaries? If you believe they lied, just type the number 1. If you think they didn't lie, type number 2 and 3 if you're not interested in voting. So voting starts now. While the voting is going on, let me just bring a little public service announcement. So it appears that the new PNM and those who support the political leader, opposition leader, which is their right to do. That has never been the concern. Everybody free to support whom they want to support. So I'm talking about me, Jennifer Frederick. I have said that I think that the opposition leader, political leader, is politically weak. I didn't say as a human being, politically meaning when she speaks, now you can have a quiet speaker and not dynamic and all that, but when they speak with authority. She does not speak with authority. She's always fumbling. She always have to look on her paper. So once you're not a dynamic speaker and you're not fiery, and you're not speaking with authority and you're talking on paper, it takes away from that, right? I've never heard her raise any substantive motion in the parliament. Well, she did raise one, and then Marvin Gonzalez said something and she closed the motion one time. And they even had to berate her in the parliament and saying she there so long she should have known. I've never heard her come out and speak with authority on any matters. This is me. I don't know her personally, but I know of her because she's in the political space. So people will talk about they work with her in several ministries and nothing. They even go to say that she's lazy. She waits until the others do the work and then take the fame. So them say. I've heard about her wheelings and dealings in Arima when she sabotaged, it is alleged, Laura Lee Lezama's campaign and also tried to do same with Anthony Garcia. Those are things that are out there. We heard that she became the opposition leader when out of the 13 winning MPs, 6 plus herself sat down without the knowledge of the next 6, and they voted for her and installed her as the opposition leader. So those are the things we hear. So battle with all that, when I say she's politically weak, I know I'm saying even politically lazy. There are some within the PNM who support her, have a problem with that. And having a problem with that, the de facto social media officer that the PNM now has with her team, they have decided to do lives to expose me. Me know what I want to expose. My business all in the road. And I am saying to them, prove me wrong. Because the conversation that she's politically weak is not a PNM conversation. It's not in a chat conversation. It is all out there. The public is saying that also, and not PNM people, right? So if you all see something in her that has convinced you she can take the PNM to election victory 2030 and also local government election, instead of focusing on me, focus on that and show people where Jennifer Frederick saying she lying or where people saying how they lie. I think that we should do. If you have a good product, you have to market your product. You cannot focus on somebody who say your product ain't good and don't show where your product is good. It makes no sense to me. So I would advise them, they're free to support her, just as I free not to support her, but the focus should not be on Jennifer Frederick. I have always been an advocate in PSA. Always been outspoken, especially under Watson Juke. And I will see Watson Juke today and he'll call me, come on, Frederick, and stand up and talk and work on a triple this, whatever. I have conducted myself with class and dignity in the PSA, in all my activism. I never asked nobody in PSA for nothing. I never get nothing. I was about making sure members who pay the money and have grievances, it will be dealt with. And because I'm also trained to do it, I would help workers, right? That is my advocacy in the PSA. In the PNM, I've always called on radio, put up posts, make live, all that, always in the interest of the People's National Movement. I never asked for a phone card, nor do I want one. I never asked for a data plan, nor do I want one. I never asked them for a plate of food because me don't really eat out. Me ain't no drinker, so they can have what they want, it don't bother me. I never asked for no contract, me don't want none. I never asked for no support because I good. Everything I do because I want to do it in the interest of a PNM being ready to take back office in 2030. All who get contract and get this and get that, I'm not interested. That is all they right, if all they want and all they get, me affects it all. But I'm simply saying, you're wasting time in making lives to expose me and put me in my place. I don't know what place you're talking about. Because that will make people join you in PNM. That will make young people want to vote for PNM. That will make young people or people decide that Penelope Beckers is not politically weak. So if you're trying to discredit me and feel with discrediting me, who talking the truth? That will enhance the opposition leader and political leader, the PNM, and enhance the voting capacity of the PNM all year round. So if all they want to remain in opposition, continue, all it continues. Right. So voting is over. 95% said yes. They think that PSA lied to members about the 10% increase, and 5% said no, they don't think that the PSA lied to workers. Today's Friday, people. We'll finish a little early. So again, I want to advise those who support the political leader and opposition leader, that is their right. Show us where you all get all the confidence from, because the person I support never hidden that. I'm my member of parliament, because I'm from Port North, St. Anne's West, and the member of parliament is Stuart Richard Young. I declare my hands long time. Whether people agree with me or don't agree with me. But if somebody asks me why I feel Stuart Young should lead the PNM or whatever, I could come with all kind of reasons. I could show videos. I could talk from past work he did in energy when he was in there. I could bring those. You may not agree with me, but I could bring a conversation to you why I believe that he's the best person to lead the PNM into election. You don't have to agree with me. But the point I'm making, I support Cyar. I could show you several reasons why he's the person. So if you all support the political leader, opposition leader, show us the reasons why. Convince us, because we are voters too. Convince us. But you are not doing that. Instead of cussing people who say they don't support you. How will that work? Whatever all leaders get and don't get, I'm not interested. That's only business. But let me be real. If all they're saying she politically strong and all that, show us where. Because I understand it is alleged in Grenada in Job Carnival. Nothing wrong in that. The woman want to free up. She said all kind of thing happening in Trinidad. She did. Just before that, she was in Texas. And she gets stick in Texas and had to do, because she was expected somewhere in New York or somewhere there, and she had to talk to the people via social media. Before that, she out there meeting with Jeffries and this one, that. Before that, she's somewhere always out and about and not dealing with the issues and leaving it to others to do it. If you are a leader, lead from the front. And if you get into politics, you have to have a thick skin because you're in public life. So if somebody say they don't agree with you and they don't support you, you is not to take that personal. Your job is to show them, I am the woman for the work, or I'm the man for the work. And you cannot simply tell me because you're there for years and it's a woman you're entitled to. Those are positions that you held. That is not work that you did. Show us the work that you did. So as I say again, I support Cyar, and I could show you several reasons why. And I'll just show you in video. And I could always do it in articles and read, right? So.
Stuart Young de moi. Stuart Young de moi. Stuart Young de moi. Your PNM.
So I want to thank everyone, the thousands and thousands of people who have sent messages of support, messages asking that we continue. I want to thank Trinidad and Tobago for a very peaceful democratic process in the general election once again. We did our best. I know I did my best, and I look forward to representing my constituency, Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, with everything that I have over the next 5 years. Furthermore, I will continue to fight for Trinidad and Tobago. And I ask everybody, continue to support Young's Army. Young's Army!
Is that?
Right, Deborah Jack, I don't know if it's me who is saying lazy, but if it's me who is saying lazy, my sweetheart, I am not going up for no position in the PNM, nor am I the leader. So I could afford to be lazy, right? If it's me you're talking about. So that was Cyar only after the elections and the defeat of the PNM are showing us that he's going to fight and keep fighting for Trinidad and Tobago and his constituents. This is how he treats the stalwart of the PNM.
I'll go cross any ocean to find it. Won't let no mountain get in the way. Hey. We come cross the water, been through the fire. I know that my heart will show me the way. Everywhere you turn, you see people smiling. We don't see no creed and race. Don't want nobody tell me about leaving. We fight for we thing and this is the place.
Right? This new PNM has disrespected Dr. Marilyn Gordon, who is one of our living icons and stalwarts of the People's National Movement. They even disrespected Auntie Joan Williams. They have no respect for people who would have served with dignity in the PNM. but Stuart Young cares. Let me show you a new chapter.
Priority number 3, a nation of learners, leaders, and innovators. This is education for the real world, where children learn how to code, to budget, and to build a better tomorrow, starting today.
Right? Look at him meeting his constituents, and he don't have to cut off no coconut, which I can even do it. Cut off coconut. He don't have to cut up chicken. He don't have to make a bake. He don't have to make thing. He don't have to dance a jig. Everybody do things differently.
So here we are. A few weeks ago on my walk, how you going? You good? On my walk through, I came up in the St. Francois plannings as I normally do. Saw a number of issues that needed addressing. Since the government got rid of CPEP, URP, all of the workers, they're now not funding the Port of Spain Corporation, we've been suffering. So one of the things we decided to do is we would use former CPEP workers, bring them up in the constituency, find the wherewithal to help them to maintain our communities as was being done before. So we came up this morning, we've done our wildlands in Belmont, we've come up here, we've done St. Francois plannings and other areas in Belmont today, using the former CPEP workers and their resources of the former contractors to help our community. And that is how we intend to continue. I will stand with the workers and we will continue to do what we can, but we need to maintain our communities.
Right? And just now as the Christmas party, I'm bringing a little last Christmas party because I can't wait for Christmas party.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas everyone from Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, as you join me here at our annual Children's Christmas Party. My message to you this year is a message of peace, prosperity, but more importantly, safety. Stay safe on the road outside there. Don't drink and drive. Stay out of trouble. And I know some of our families this Christmas are hurting from no CPEP, no URP, reforestation, and other jobs that we've lost. So let's look after our brothers and sisters as we try to do in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. Have a great and a merry, but importantly a safe Christmas. Merry Christmas everyone.
Right? Deborah, sweetie, don't get in a bacchanal with people on the thing now, right? I don't mind a healthy discussion, and it must sometimes let me make the bacchanal now, right? You say I will God bless you. Well, I'm glad that you believe in God and stuff, and I thank you for saying it's not me. But at the end of the day, we all entitled to our opinions. You could express it here, and we don't expect cursing. We had to remove a gentleman from here because he started to use obscene language. Not because he opposing. I don't deal with the obscene language because I try my best when I am my show not to use obscene language. So I doesn't like nobody on the live cussing nobody else, and I don't like them thing, right? So that person is not there no. But everybody's free to have their opinion. So as I was saying again, if you want to convince people that let me call her name, Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson is the person to take the PNM into 2030 election victory and local government election. You see how I show things at Stuart Young in his community online? Show we them things, show us that, but don't show we cutting off the coconut and me. Not that kind of thing. Show us articles where she would have done this in Parliament in her time in the Senate, what bill she talk on, what motion she moved, all them kind. You see like how you could say Ms. Camille Robinson Regis when she was leader of government business, all the bill she used to bring and talk. You don't see that. And it has nothing to do with Ms. Penelope Becker's style is softer or calmer. That is okay. But when you speak, we expect to hear authority in your voice, which has nothing to do with you being quiet and nice. No. When you speak, you don't sound authoritative. And that don't mean to say you want to bully people. It means to say that people are just troops or turn. And when people are still out here boring, So quiet have nothing to do. There's a style, nothing wrong. But even in that quiet style, you must be able to command attention. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, you don't. So again, I'll advise all her supporters, all her handlers, focus on getting her politically strong, where she could read from always having to look in paper. Where when she put up a post on Facebook, it is long and have about 9 paragraphs. Again, all your work, are given all your solutions to all your issues that we seeing that she has. That, tighten up and be here, be present, represent. Come on your truth. Come on your truths. Don't be no bacchanal thing and calling this one and say, I hear you support and young and thing. And stop that kind of thing. Leave that for all below. And then you keep your standard. Don't get in that kuchu and bacchanal. And I want to say congratulations to the Women's League of Train City Maloney, who stood up and stood their ground and was not intimidated. I understand it is alleged Central Executive went up in a Women's League election. So all the tappers and them went, I don't understand why they need to be there. Again, why they putting themselves in women business. I don't mind if the deputy political leader who in charge of the election processes and things, Mr. Jennifer Baptiste Primus, was there because that is her role. I don't mind if the election officer are returning because that is their job. But what the rest of them doing of they to intimidate the woman? So is the PSA going to go around now? Recent development just in Caracas. What is that, Sharon? I don't know if all they intend to just simply try to bully people into supporting. But you know what? You could bully somebody into supporting, and when they go behind the voting poll and the booth and wherever they are to, you will know they vote for. They might very well say yes, and then after. Because that way happened with PNM and election 2025, after all they went about and tell people don't vote for PNM, we could sit this one out. We lost 33 and come back. We lost 28 or something, so 12 and we come back, and that don't vote for the Chinese man, and don't vote for this, and all they went wrong and was doing that. And people who were already disenchanted because of the 4% and disenchanted with this and that, they buy into it, and people ain't come out to vote. All they did that. And this is where we at right now. So, trying to bully people into supporting the Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson is not a good strategy. Trying to shame people is not a good strategy. Everything I say here is not about shaming the opposition leader, political leader. She's in public life. She leads a very big, esteemed political party, and she must be able to withstand criticism because it's constructive criticism. And if she gets offended with it that she has social media people going and make life to cost people and whatever is not a good. I want to talk to the opposition leader, political leader. Mrs. Beckers, if you are behind that, I'm asking a question. It is not a good look. If anybody on your central executive is behind those things, ma'am, it's not a good look. I'm asking question. I'm not making any aspersion or casting any. If that is the central executive or the PNM is behind those type of things, that is not a good look because it's not the issue. Yeah? So again, show us why we should support the political leader, opposition leader. And please don't tell us we bring PNM business in the road. Because when Ms. Baptiste Primus break that solemn oath, leave a general council meeting where they had the thing and come out on the road in Balise House and took an interview with the newspaper and talk all what happened in the general council. All they should have pulled she up. All they didn't pull she up, instead she was rewarded. So they can't complain about nobody talking outside because they can't talk in general council because they don't even have a constitution, a PSA for them to look to see if what Central X telling them is the truth. And I want to leave with this. Everybody should get a PNM constitution with a PNM member and just go general council. Because I know I get a our constitution about 2 days ago, and I done screwed through certain things because I know about constitution. I think I come from PSA. Miss Jennifer Baptiste Primer sent me on scholarship at Cipriani College with 7 others, and I make the most of it. I graduated from there with my associate degree in labor studies and certificate in industrial relations. So I could read constitution. I'm good like that, right? In the constitution, it says, and I'm breaking it down for you and giving all the long term. When the central executive, that is the political leader, general secretary, chairman, and those at those levels, deputy political leaders, sit before the general council. They are not in charge of the general council. It is the general council who directs the central ex, and the central ex answers to the general council. So the general council have all right to question any move the central ex making and ask to report on anything they would have done. There are areas in the constitution where the central ex has its authority to do X, Y, Z. However, it comes right back to the general council. So I don't understand if the general council don't understand central ex don't run them, it's them run central ex. Just like in the PSA, when the executive of the PSA, the president sit and the president is the chairperson in the general council, there's not no president there. Them is a member there and chairman chairing the meeting. Because if them in there, you go down to the next person to hold the meeting whilst you have a quorum. So it shows you the central ex saying all that. Because if the general secretary in there and this one in there and this one in there and that, nobody from the central ex there, it goes down now to somebody else who the general council appoint to carry on the meeting. And once there's a quorum, the meeting is legal without the national executive there. That tells you something. Take that to the bank. I'm saying, read the constitution, understand the constitution. And again, when the central ex sit before general council, them don't run things. Them have to report to general council members and all what they did for the 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever. And the general council is to make the determination whether or not they're ratifying this or ratifying that, or they're approving this or approving that. The general national executive don't come and tell the general council, all you had to do this and all you had to, no. Learn your constitution. If you want a stronger PNL, know your constitution. Miss Jennifer Baptiste Prime, I always tell her, I'll always be thankful for the union movement. I admire her in the union movement. Nobody can take away that from her, from me. But you see, the politics, it's stink and dirty. Apart is because she knows better. She knows better because as the president of PSA, we couldn't leave a general council meeting and come in the road and say what happened in general council. We would have been disciplined, put before tribunal and all kind of things. So she knows. But I don't know why she behaving the way she behaving. So people, this is my say. I'm entitled to have my say because it's my show. Plenty people will not appreciate it, but again, I don't go for likes and support. I just say what I see. And if I say something wrong and somebody could correct me, no problem. I'll take the correction once it's the right thing. And to all those who continue to support me on Facebook and on YouTube, thank you all for the support. And again, you don't have to agree with me. I've never begged nobody to agree with me. You're free to disagree, but I have my opinions based on the knowledge that I have. And because of that, I say the things I say, and I'm always supported the things I say as factual by my receipts. If I don't know, I ask a question. So people have a blessed weekend. Be safe, love your family, look out for the children, look out for the neighbor, come back to your brothers and sisters, keepers. People don't have, they're without. If you could help a neighbor with some food to feed the children, don't study if she have 5 men and 5 children. That is not the issue. The children is the issue. Times are hard, they don't have CPEP, they don't have URP. You see the woman crying about as small as it is, you say get a little money from CPEP, she ain't getting it, right? Help somebody in the community, excuse me. School uniform, whatever. If you have uniform, let your child or go. Not no tear and hole and all that, but something good if the neighbor wanted for the children. Come now, man. In the community, them young girls and them who does have the freshest hairstyle and thing, buy a little thing by Pennywise and thing and shampoo little girls, children hair and whatever, plait it nice for them on the Sunday so they have it for if it's the whole week or Wednesday and thing. The parents, if they have to put up a little thing and help you buy it, let me do that now. If you have a little washing machine and you have a little more access to water, wash some of the school uniform and thing for them who mightn't have, and press the tool like ironing and thing. Let me go back to them thing now, man, and help until we could go to the next level, right? Each one love one. And I want to tell you all before I go. When you talk about the African community, start off talking about the successes in the African community. You see, all of us start talking about the success of the Indian community, Syrian community, and all the other communities. And all they don't even study the failures, but when all they start to talk about the African community, all they start with the failures. Start talking about the successes in the African community because we have plenty. And when our children become doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever, stop operating as if it is something unusual. It is not unusual. It is the norm. We are accustomed having doctors, lawyers, teachers, tradesmen, artisans, dancers, cooks. We are accustomed in the African community. So let me start with talking about the successes first now. And stop telling me to emulate another ethnic group. We don't have to do that. We have the successes, we have the formula right in our own communities. Just some don't use it. But stop telling me we must emulate the Syrian community or emulate. We can admire them, but we don't have to emulate them because we have the formula right here. Let us start to big up the we community with the successes and don't start to just the failures because we have failures, but we have plenty successes. And again, don't operate as though if one of our child become a doctor and a lawyer or a teacher, it's something so unusual that we are accustomed being educators, we are accustomed being intellectuals, we are accustomed doing big things. That is not nothing unusual, right? See, people love you all, and as I say, they could fool some of the people some of the time. They cannot fool all the people all the time. Love you all. Knowledge is power. Yeah? I'll go on.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitters is gold. After story had never been told, so now you see the light. Hey, stand up for your right. Come on, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Most people think great God will come from the sky, take away everything and make everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, you would look for yours on earth. And now when you see the light, you stand up for your rights. Yeah. Get up, stand up. Yeah, yeah. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Life is your right. Get up, stand up. So we can't give up the fight. Stand up for your right. Lord, Lord. Get up, stand up. Keep us traveling on. Don't give up the fight. Yeah.
We're sick and tired of your ism, schism, game, dine and go to heaven in Jesus' name, Lord. We know and we understand. Almighty God is a living man. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So now we see the light. We gonna stand up for our rights.
Yeah.
So you better get up, stand up.
In the morning.
Give it up,
Stand up for your right.
stand up right now.
Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Don't give it up, don't give it up.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up.
Stand up for your right.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Get up, stand up.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
you.